Hello lovely people. So as you can see, today's video is going to be a little more emotional, a little more personal. I'm going to tell you about how I handled the situation, what I went through, and kind of about how it all started. So if you want to watch more, stay tuned. Okay, so I'm gonna start off by saying I am not sure how my mom's reaction is gonna be to this video. I don't know if she's gonna be happy, I don't know if she's gonna be sad, I don't know if she's gonna be mad, but hopefully she'll be proud of me to be able to speak on this whole situation. I actually got this idea from my nail technician, Johanna. Yes, guys, I got my nails done. Yes, guys, so my nails cute, right? Sorry, Carlos called me. Oh, he's messing everything up. But anyways, I'll attach her Instagram down below. So she actually gave me this idea, and I thought it was actually a very good idea for a video, because I know there is some people that have been through the same situation or going through the same situation, whether it be a parent, a grandmother, a good friend, or even just a close relative. It is very hard to watch somebody go from being the best, strongest person ever to literally being the weakest, unmobile. Like, it's very hard. So I'll tell you guys a little more about my dad's background, on really about how this all begun and what led to him finding out he had cancer. So my dad worked at WSSC for 32 years. He was actually forced to retire once he found out that he had what they thought was MS, which is multiple sclerosis. He actually one year fell at work really bad onto his shoulder, which we think kind of triggered what was going on with his cervical spine to kind of give them the thought of having the MS. In 2007, he actually one day kind of just woke up and wasn't really feeling right. He said that he couldn't really feel his arm, he couldn't really feel his leg. So, you know, the first thing that comes to mind when somebody has a problem on their left side and it kind of goes numb, the first thing you think of is he had a stroke. He didn't. He actually went to one doctor who said that he did, which then he went to another specialist for a second opinion, and they off the top was like, oh, you have multiple sclerosis. A little bit about multiple sclerosis is, I'm looking at my paper to give you guys the definition. Multiple sclerosis is a disease where the immune system eats away at the protective covering of the nerve, resulting in nerve damage that disrupts the communication between the brain and the body. So pretty much what the MS is doing is eating away at the nerves, and it's losing the signal that the brain is sending for the arm to move or to be lifted or to be able to put his arm above his head or for his foot to be picked up when he walked. Now, another sign that they were saying that it could have been a stroke or it could be MS is because my dad had drop foot. Drop foot is pretty much when you lift your leg up, your foot kind of just walks behind you. It kind of drags. So he had I guess it would be called like a boot cast or something that he would strap on his leg, put in his shoe, and it was supposed to help him walk better. But my dad was so vain that he could not wear that boot. But it didn't bother him as much because he knew he had to walk a little better, or he knew he had to pick up his foot a little more for the foot to follow with him. He went to multiple doctors to get second opinions on the multiple sclerosis, And then one day he went to another doctor who told him that he had transverse myelitis. Now, transverse myelitis is a disorder caused by inflammation of the cervical spine. So in his neck, there is a vertebrae that is probably like at the base of your neck. It is called your C7 disc. The C7 disc, in the middle of it, there is a pretty much like bone marrow in the middle. That so the spinal cord itself inflamed and cut off. So I'll put a description in of where your C7 disc is and how it will look when it cuts it off. With that being said, pretty much what happened was he had no like circulation in his spinal cord to tell the body to move on his left side. It was on the left nerve of his body. So what they had, and that is what was causing him to not be able to lift his arm or get the numbness. He got the numbness on that left side. So with that, he actually had to go in and get a procedure done in 2007 to get the C7 disc in his neck removed and a bone from the bone bank put in. They had a little cut right here in the front of him, and they moved all his esophagus and all his main arteries and stuff over, took out the disc and put a new one in. That actually, it probably took about maybe 2 months to heal and for him to actually start getting movement back in his left side. My dad got about 75% of his movement, I think it was 85, sorry. About 85% of his movement in his arm back. He was able to put his arm above his head. His leg, he was able to kind of pull it up, but he did still suffer from the drop foot. Now, with that, he had it from 2007 till 2018. He learned to maneuver with it. My dad was such a hard-working man. He actually had to retire from the disorder that he had on the left side because he was a liability. So when he had the surgery, he came back full force. My dad was outside cutting the grass. He was up blowing leaves. He would work on our cars. He would work in his boat. He would do everything. He was even riding his motorcycle. And that was a 2-wheel, not 3. So I give the man props. My dad was such a role model for me. He taught me to never give up. I would look at him and just could see the pain on his face, and he still wouldn't give up. He would be outside from before the sun would rise till when the sun set, and would only come in for breaks to get water or eat food or something. He was amazing. So after he found out that it was the MS and he had to get the surgery done and it was a transverse myelitis, sorry, not the MS, the transverse myelitis, he went and continued on with his life. Well, back in 2017, it was discussed that my dad could have a hip replacement. Mind you, from all the pain of everything that he went through, it's not that it's not painful. It's very painful in your body to have, you have to work harder to bring your foot up, or you have to work harder to walk different. Like my dad had to walk with a cane sometimes because it was so bad of pain. So he took different medications. He would get injections. He would do everything that he possibly could. Now, he didn't smoke weed. He didn't drink alcohol. He wasn't really able to do too much. My dad did have hepatitis C. So when it came to different things, it didn't work because hepatitis C is pretty much when your body attacks different enzymes inside of you that pretty much it causes pain. So one year, I don't exactly know what year, University of Maryland was doing a trial run of getting rid of hepatitis C. So my dad was like, let's try it. So he went ahead and he started the program.